Welcome back. And so in this video we're going to implement the gesture recognizer. Okay, now the gesture recognizer is going to allow us to shoot the ball whenever the screen is tapped. Okay, and so to create the gesture recognizer, we're first going to conduct a method call. Okay, so we're just going to write register, okay, gesture recognizer. Okay, and so now that we have conducted the method call, let's create the method. Okay, and so we're just going to write function register gesture recognizer. Okay, and so register gesture recognizer is going to be a function which takes in no arguments. Okay, and so in this function we're going to create the gesture recognizer. Okay, and so we're going to write let tap equals UI tap gesture recognizer. Okay, and recall what we've said. We've said that UI tap gesture recognizer is a function which takes in two arguments. Okay, so the first argument is the target, okay, and then the second argument is the action. Okay, and so for target we're just going to pass in the value self. Okay, and self references the view controller or the main screen. Okay, and action is the action to be performed once we've touched on the screen. Okay, and so we're just going to write hash selector, okay, then a pair of brackets, and then we're going to write handle tap, so HANDLE tap. Okay, and so now that we have created the UI gesture recognizer, we now need to add it to the scene. And so to add it to the scene, we're going to write scene view dot add gesture recognizer. Okay, and recall what we've said. We've said that add gesture recognizer is a function which takes in one argument, and the argument is just the gesture recognizer. Okay, so we're just going to pass in the value tap. Okay, and so now that we have created this function, we're now going to create the handle tap function. Okay, and recall what we've said. We've said that the handle tap function is the function that's going to be called when we tap on the screen. Okay, so what we're going to write is this: at Objective-C, okay, function handle tap. Okay, and so handle tap is a function which takes in one argument, and the argument is a gesture recognizer. Okay, which is of type UI gesture recognizer. Okay, so before we implement this function, I'm just going to explain why we've written at Objective-C. Okay, so right here we have hash selector. Okay, and so hash selector is part of the Objective-C framework. It's Objective-C syntax. Okay, and so when conducting a method call using the hash selector, you have to make sure that the corresponding function is exposed to Objective-C. Okay, and so when we write at Objective-C, all we're doing is to expose the corresponding function to Objective-C. Okay, so let's just remove this. Okay, let's just remove at Objective-C, and what will happen now is that an error would occur. Okay, and so the error says argument of hash selector refers to instance method handle tap that is not exposed to Objective-C. Okay, and so when we write at Objective-C, all we do is expose it to Objective-C. Okay, and so for this quick example, in this function we're just going to print out, okay, will it work? So will it work? And you know, let's see. Let's see if it's going to work. Okay, so what we're going to do is run it, and what should happen now is this: when the game is run, the statement will it work should be printed onto the console every time the screen is tapped. Okay, so let's tap on the screen. Great, and it works, and it works. This is good. Okay, so now this works, we're going to implement a part of the function. Okay, so what we want to happen is this: whenever we tap on the screen, we want a ball to be created. Okay, and we want the ball to be positioned at the camera's point. Okay, so in the scene view, we have the camera, okay, and the camera has a position, and we want the ball to be positioned at the center point, okay. And so to do this, we first need to access the scene view, okay, and then we need to access the point of view of that scene, okay. So I'll just comment it out and write what we're going to do. So first we need to access the scene view, okay, scene view to be accessed, okay, and then we need to locate, or then we need to access the point of view of the scene view, okay, and this is just the center point, okay, and so this is what we need to access. And so to do these two things, we're going to type in this. We're going to write guard let scene view equals gesture recognizer, okay, dot view as then a question mark ARSCN view, okay, then else, okay, and just return, okay. And so what we've done so far is to have safely accessed the scene view, okay, and have stored it in the constant scene view, okay. And so now that we've accessed the scene view, we now need to access the center point, okay, so the center point of the scene view, okay. And so to access the center point of the scene view, we're going to write this: guard let camera point, okay, or let's just call it center point. Center point equals scene view dot point of view, okay, else return, okay. And so what we've just done here is to access the center point of the scene view, okay, and we've stored it in the constant center point, okay. And so because we now have the point of view, we now have access to a transform matrix, okay, and the transform matrix contains the orientation, okay, as well as the location of the camera, okay. And so with the orientation and the location of the camera, we'll then be able to determine the position of the camera, okay, and it's at this position in which we want the ball to be placed, okay. So I'll just write we need the orientation, okay, and location to determine the position of the camera, okay, and it's at this point in which we want the ball to be placed, okay. And so this is going to be it for this video, and in the next we're going to go over a lesson on the transform matrix, okay. And so I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you.